We met on an oncology ward. Urs was working as a junior assistant, and I was still a medical student, and he was showing me how to treat patients.
But after about 2 months working together, I realized that Özdem is someone very special, and we started to talk and get to know each other.
Working together, we understood that we have the same vision, namely to serve patients and help them to get better and treat them in better ways.
Having a partner with whom I had the privilege to work was the biggest gift that I got. If we see a cancer patient, we not only see a deceased person, but we see a person with the whole universe, with the family, with the relationships.
This dilemma that we saw, that what we can offer patients is not much, yet knowing what was going on in research and science, it was clear that there was so much potential.
It was the 1990s where there was a revolution in immunology, in understanding how the immune system works.
When I arrived, there was no BioNTech, so we were just at the university group of them. I think we were around 9-10 people. At that time, only a couple of scientists in the world were working on this because no one at that time really believed in the power of mRNA.
We had the goal to come up with new therapies where we enable the immune system and use the full power of the immune system for the treatment of the cancer patient. But it was also about a completely new idea.
This sort of gave us the energy and the motivation to choose this different path.
We really love what we do. We were driven by curiosity. We wanted to understand if something worked. We were happy because it worked, and if something did not work, and this was most often the case, we tried to understand why.
I was dreaming about having a little finger capable of doing photosynthesis. That was just my childhood dream. And I got really excited when I see for the first time blood cells under the microscope.
For example, we don't call it a problem. We call those problematic things as a challenge.
I think one has to understand how scientists think. Even if you do not succeed in that experiment, which you have done on that day, you learn from it and you create ripple effects which help you to improve. We enjoy that.
Even small steps count here. A patient could go into vacation, which he was not able for a couple of years, or he was able to celebrate a birthday. These small things motivates you so much to say, okay, if this helped one, it could help more.
So we understood that if we really wanted our ideas, our dreams became real, then we had to do the next step.
If you really want to develop in a sustainable way and at scale innovations, new medicines, you need a certain environment, you need funding, you need structures, you need people with other skill sets. And we understood that this would be only feasible in some sort of biotech company, out of desperation in principle.
In funding a company, we did not know how a company works. You have to deal with a lot of things which are not science. So this was not fun. And then we realized that the only thing how we can do it is to join forces with people who really understands the business. We got friends.
When he told us about his vision, it was really the goal to bring better medicine to people. And I think if you see how honest people are, how to say, you want to be part of that journey. You want to be support that vision.
We sort of pledged ourselves that now that we would move from the patient's bedside and would not be able anymore to serve individual patients, have to be somehow compensated and make a difference on a larger scale on patients. The interesting thing is that we moved into developing individualized treatments, individualized for patients, but doing it in a way that it could be universal.
In principle, this three different aspects, science, innovation and entrepreneurship, appear to be different. So how the entrepreneur aspect fits to that. If you reach your goal, if you are able to develop innovation which helps patients, it will also be economically useful.
We learned on the path that we have to bring those three worlds together, and we have to act with responsibility and accountability ourselves in these three worlds.
On the one side, you have to be naive as a scientist going into entrepreneurship. You have to respect the competence of other people. But on the other side, you have to question everything. I remember a day where we had debate, discussion with investors and with our advisors. Someone said, but this is the way how all others do it. Just do it. Yeah? Then I asked the question, what is the success rate of all others doing this way? Yeah? Yeah? And then everyone was quiet, yeah? Because there was no success in the field. I said, it does not make sense to do it in a way that people failed before.
It was at that time more to say, okay, we will give them the chance and the possibility to work on that to really set a new standard. So it was more at that time that we say we decided to support the way, not the outcome.
The way how we communicated with our investors was from the very beginning, see, this is science. And this is dealing about things that we don't know. That's true science. But what we can promise at the moment is that we believe that what we want to accomplish is doable. Yeah? And we will be very honest if we see that it's not anymore doable.
We have had a meeting on the supervisory board and Ugo said, okay, to be honest, the data are good, but maybe we should do another round to become better data, and then it will be great. And this is also a very unusual situation that the CEO is coming and said, okay, we can do that, but these are not the best data we could have.
And that created trust.
At some point, namely in January 2020, when we understood this is a pandemic, and also understood we have a technology actually which could help here.
How can I be of help? How can my team be of help? And then we catalyzed everyone, and then we started working.
At that time, in end of January, it was not a big issue in Europe, in Germany. It was a virus in China. So I was really surprised how serious he took that.
That was an amazing moment because it was even before this that he mentioned there is this disease in Wuhan and people were suffering from it, and he was considering that we can do something. And then within a couple of weeks, he was like, oh, we have a candidate, maybe we can test it. And then it was so surprising, and I felt like I'm working with superheroes.
We learned that over years, that when Ugo tells you there is something, we believe. And in the end, we are believers.
First of all, we are driven by purpose. We want to help. And if you understand that you can make a difference, then it's an obligation to help.
And we used all the know-how of the last 2 decades put into this Lightspeed project to develop a vaccine in a very short time.
How to say, it was not a lucky punch what BioNTech did. This is groundbreaking work over 20 years.
We knew that there is no guarantee that this would be successful. Okay? And we had a lot of discussion with our colleagues about that, yeah? Whether we will put the company at risk. On the other hand, this pandemic will come regardless whether we start to work on a vaccine or not, and will interfere with everything what we are doing. Yeah? That's the correct thing to really face it, yeah? And to deal with it.
So it was astonishing how fast we could moved along, but it was not really a surprise to me because I have seen things happening at BioNTech before that we could be fast if we are united.
It shows how fast projects can be managed if everyone is prepared to support it in the right way and to show what can happen if we use the innovation to solve problems. And I think in the end, it was also the proof of Ugo's vision to bring better medicine with new technology to people.
And so we were blessed to serve in a much broader scale.
You know that you are doing it in an era where you really can save people's lives at the end of the day. We had good results as well for other diseases as well, but this was a very special one.
I grew up in a Turkish family, and what I learned from all those people, from my family, in particular from my dad, that there must be a higher mission to follow when we live in this world. There are, in principle, four values which are important for me and actually also for Urs. We share them. One is courage. Courage is what gives creativity and curiosity its wings.
To try something you don't know, but you still want to do it.
I am not scared to fail, and others might be. Therefore, taking risk really means a good understanding of assessment of risk.
Yeah, you fail once, but you take the next step, you find a way forward, find the next solution when this one didn't happen.
For example, our Lightspeed project, developing a vaccine in 10 months, appeared to be impossible, and we found a way and said, in principle it's possible.
I think this is a true courage, and this is what we do every day.
The second one needs to be combined with courage, and that is about humility.
On the one side, we have a big vision, trying to reach something which appears to be impossible. We know that we can only reach that if we take ourselves out of the equation. It's not about us. Yeah, it's about people whom we want to help.
The third value, which is, we think, very important, is rationality. This, for example, shows in the way how we let ourselves be driven by science, by data, by things which are real and which are factual. The fourth value we cherish is this being united, doing things as a team.
What Ugo is always saying, each single person has a certain superpower, and the goal for us is how to bring those people with their superpower on the right place on the game.
Maybe we can call us like the Avengers, so that everyone plays some role to let's say, to save the world.
Inspiring people is part of the job because it is the foundation for building a tribe which has a shared vision.
We don't have a white book for culture. It is more the way how we expose ourselves. I really expose myself to people who expose themselves to others.
They spend a lot of time not only on your education, but on your personal development. Science, education, and personal development somehow go hand in hand, and that we grow not only scientifically, but also personally.
From Özlem, I learned a lot how to be also a kind of the female leader, that you don't have to be in the back, speak up. I learned a lot of that from her, because she took me with her.
Their contribution to the field is enormous, but also their contribution to lives of many of us is also very meaningful to us, me and my other colleagues.
I believe this is something that was possible because of our Turkish origins. What I really like in Turkish culture is paying attention on the individual. Yeah? So my father liked to say, if someone offers you a cup of coffee, This is a value of 40 years.
I had one day I was really frustrated. I was sitting down in his office. He asked me how are you doing? And I started directly crying. But there were already people outside the door who had the next meeting. So he opened the door to the others and said I need more time. Please, can you come later? Or he just canceled the other meetings. He took more than 30 minutes to just talk to me. That is something you see that is getting you emotionally attached.
So we tried to build an atmosphere which comes with a Turkish family culture. So what we say is that BioNTech is a family of families. What I like in Germany is what I missed in Turkey is the accountability. Yeah? It's really this relentless accountability. Yeah? It's really down to earth. Yeah? How the Germans played soccer in the 70s, 80s. Yeah? If we see something which fits to our vision, and then we really try to deal with it in a scientific manner. Our superpower is really innovation.
The next steps are about democratizing the access to innovation, to medicine.
So during the pandemic, we realized that there is the distribution of the vaccines are unequal, and the first step that we did is to scale up the manufacturing. And by this we were also able to deliver vaccines for Turkey. But we saw that as a first step, and we realized that we can do more. We considered to come up with a technological idea to solve that. This is the BioNTech solution.
The case of BioNTech, it's about technology transfer. For us, it's not an act, it's really an attitude to have an innovation, container-based module which can be upgraded for each sort of new process development digitally and transplant it into a region where it is needed. Also helping to build an ecosystem at that places. Meaning being inclusive, educating, training those people in those regions who have the need to be served with such vaccines.
That's a very important new way what BioNTech is doing there. This is more the question, how can we solve this question on a global thinking?
We understand that our technology is not only useful for developing vaccines against COVID or influenza, but will be useful or could be useful also developing vaccines to diseases like tuberculosis, like malaria. So our first vaccines for malaria and tuberculosis are going to be clinically tested end of this year in 2022.
We have other innovative concepts as well. One concept which excites us also very much are our cell therapies, where we reprogram the immune cells of patients against their own tumor, which also sounds science fictiony, but is a concept we are testing in clinical trials and seeing activity.
We have very good data from our preclinical studies in different cancer entities. And I believe, of course, that RNA will also bring big paradigm-shifting changes in that field as well.
And we hope that from one of those immune therapy platforms, we will be able to deliver cancer treatments within the next 3 to 5 years, also broadly to patients. When we started our journey, the two of us have always trusted in the idea of building a tribe of comrades, of mentors, of people who had the same vision. Our doctoral students who grow up with us and became our most intimate partners, our investors who are soulmates and friends, our colleagues who are taking over responsibility feel like success that we have been able to build such a tribe over time, which functioned in the times of most dire need.
We are not driven by the goal to be successful, personally successful. We are driven by goals to reach something, to enable something. In our journey, now we came to another point. But the journey is not over. Sometimes we even feel that the journey just started.